Ma'am, I need to see your permit for that firearm.
I have authorization. I'm here for qualification.
Qualification for what? You work security or something?
No, federal agency.
Huh, okay, sure. Which one?
ATF.
Right, well, I'm going to need you to step away from the weapon until I verify that.
I'd rather not. I'm in the middle of my
Hands
rounds.
where I can see them, now.
A woman stands at a gun range. She's focused on her target. She's here to practice, nothing more. Then a voice comes from behind her. "Ma'am, I need to see your permit for that firearm." She doesn't turn around right away. "I have authorization. I'm here for qualification." "Qualification for what? You work security or something?" "No, federal agency." The man pauses. Okay, sure, which one?" "ATF." "Right, well, I'm gonna need you to step away from the weapon until I verify that." She stays calm. "I'd rather not. I'm in the middle of my rounds." "Ma'am, I'm not asking. Hands where I can see them, now." Deputy Marcus Holt had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 48 hours, his badge would be gone. His department would lose $40 million in funding. His chief would apologize on national TV. The woman he just ordered to step back wasn't some security guard. She was Kendra Williams, the director of the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. She had 22 years in federal law enforcement. She had caught 14 domestic terrorists. She controlled the money that paid for Deputy Holt's car, his gear, and his overtime. And the cameras were recording everything. Before I continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Tell me your story in the comments. But Deputy Holt had no clue who he was putting in handcuffs. Kendra Williams started her career in Chicago. She was a field agent during some of the worst gang violence the city had ever seen. She worked her way up: special agent, group supervisor, deputy director, then director. The Senate confirmed her. The president appointed her. She became the first black woman to ever lead the ATF. The agency is 51 years old. She made history. Kendra wasn't just a boss behind a desk. She was a trained firearms instructor. She had expert-level shooting skills. She oversaw a budget of $1.7 billion every year. She decided which police departments got federal money. Over 3,000 of them depended on her. Every federal agent has to pass shooting tests. Kendra was no different. She had to qualify every few months. She liked using civilian ranges outside of Washington. Fewer people recognized her there. On this Saturday morning, she just wanted to get her practice done. She had a Senate meeting on Monday. This was supposed to be quick and easy. Now here's what happened next. Deputy Marcus Holt had a reputation in Jefferson County, and it was not a good one. He was 34 years old. He had been a deputy for 8 years. In that time, he had 11 complaints filed against him. 9 of those complaints came from black residents. None of them led to any punishment. One complaint came from a traffic stop. Holt held a black driver for 47 minutes. He never gave him a ticket. He said the driver looked suspicious. Another complaint came from a wellness check. Holt pulled his gun on an elderly black man. The man was standing in his own yard. A third complaint came from this exact gun range. A black member said Holt demanded to see his paperwork for no reason. The range staff remembered that day. The sheriff always defended Holt. The police union blocked body cameras for years. The department got over $2 million from the ATF in the past 5 years. The range workers had a nickname for Holt. They called him Badge Check. They knew what he was about. But this time, Badge Check picked the wrong person. Type accountability in the comments if you think 11 complaints should mean something. It was Saturday, March 15, 2025. The time was 9:47 in the morning. The place was Liberty Arms Range in Jefferson County, Virginia. It was about 40 miles from Washington, D.C. The range had 12 indoor lanes. It was a private club. A lot of federal workers used it because it was quiet. That morning, 6 people were shooting. Country music played in the lobby. The air smelled like gunpowder. Marcus Chen worked there as the safety officer. He had been doing the job for 15 years. Tamika Reynolds was at the front desk. Kendra Williams walked in at 9:15. She signed in with her federal ID. Chen checked her credentials himself. Everything was fine. She went to lane 6. She wore jeans and a polo shirt, no badge showing, nothing fancy. At 9:42, Deputy Holt walked in. He was off duty. He came to shoot for fun, but then he saw her, a black woman with a gun at lane 6. He didn't check with the staff. He just walked over and stood behind her. He watched her for 3 minutes. When she stopped to reload, he stepped forward. If stories like this matter to you, hit that subscribe button now. Holt stood behind her. Ma'am, I need to see your permit. Kendra kept loading her gun. I have federal authorization. Federal, which agency? ATF. Holt scoffed. Right, step away from the weapon. I'm in the middle of my qualification. I don't care what your owing, I'm a law enforcement officer. Kendra looked at him. So am I. Holt didn't believe her. Show me your badge and ID. Kendra reached into her range bag slowly. She pulled out her credentials. They said ATF Director in big letters. Holt looked at them. He looked at her. These could be fake. Kendra stayed calm. Call it in. Call ATF headquarters. They'll tell you who I am. I'll verify it my way. Hands on the counter. Now. Deputy, I'm asking you to reconsider. And I'm telling you, you're being detained. Marcus Chen, the safety officer, walked over. Deputy, she checked in with federal credentials. I verified them myself. Holt didn't even look at him. Stay out of this. An off-duty FBI agent stepped out from lane 3. His name was Derek Morrison. Is there a problem here? Holt waved him off. Mind your business. Nobody moved. The range went quiet. Holt put his hand on his holstered gun. Turn around, slowly. Kendra turned. She kept her hands where he could see them. Holt pulled out his handcuffs. 3 other people in that range were already recording on their phones. One of them used to work at CNN. Let me know in the comments, what would you have done in her position? The cuffs clicked onto Kendra's wrists. The ATF director was now in handcuffs at a public gun range. FBI agent Derek Morrison stepped forward. Deputy, that woman is my boss's boss. You need to stop right now. Holt didn't even blink. I don't take orders from you. Morrison pulled out his own badge. I'm a federal agent. You're making a huge mistake. Holt ignored him. Marcus Chen grabbed the phone at the front desk. He called the ATF emergency line. He told them what was happening. 90 seconds later, a voice came through the speakerphone. The whole range could hear it. You have the ATF director in custody. Release her immediately. Holt's face went white. His mouth opened, but no words came out. He looked at Kendra, then at her credentials on the counter, then back at her. But he still didn't take off the cuffs, not right away. 4 minutes passed, 4 full minutes, with the director of the ATF standing in handcuffs. Finally, Holt reached for the cuffs. His hands were shaking. He unlocked them. Kendra rubbed her wrists. Red marks were already forming. Holt tried to explain, I was just being thorough. Kendra looked him right in the eyes. You were being something. Thorough isn't the word I'd use. Ma'am, director, I didn't know. You didn't ask. There were 4 witnesses ready to talk. Derek Morrison, the FBI agent, said this. I told him 3 times who she was. He didn't care. Marcus Chen, the safety officer, said this. I checked her credentials when she walked in. He never asked me. Janet Holloway was a regular shooter at the range. She used to produce news for CNN. I knew something was wrong the moment he walked past the desk. I started recording right away. Colonel James Tucker was also there. He was a retired Marine with 30 years of service. In all my time in the military, I never saw anyone treated like that. It was racial, simple as that. The range had 8 security cameras. All of them had audio. The sign-in log showed Kendra's verified credentials. The ATF phone call was recorded. Chen called the sheriff's office. He asked for a supervisor. He also called the state police. They were dealing with a federal official who had been detained for no reason. Holt stood in the corner. He knew he was in trouble, but he still didn't know the worst part. Kendra Williams signed off on his department's federal funding every single year. Type karma in the comments if you saw that coming. Help arrived fast. Sergeant Patricia Vance from the sheriff's office got there first. She had 12 years on the job. Lieutenant Raymond Cross from the Virginia State Police came right after her. They started asking questions. Vance watched the security footage right there at the range. Cross talked to each witness one by one. FBI agent Morrison gave his statement. He explained who Kendra was. He explained what he saw. ATF headquarters sent over official proof. Kendra Williams was exactly who she said she was, the director, the real one. Now it was time to hear Holt's side. Holt said Kendra was acting suspicious. The footage showed her shooting calmly. The staff said she checked in normally. Her credentials were verified. Holt said she wouldn't show ID. The footage showed her handing over her ATF badge within 30 seconds. Holt said he had a good reason to stop her. When they asked him what that reason was, he couldn't answer. He just said something felt off. Something felt off, that was it. Sergeant Vance made the call. Holt had to leave the range right now. He was placed on leave starting immediately. She filed an incident report. Because Holt had detained a federal official without cause, the federal government got involved automatically. A civil rights case was now open. Holt tried to defend himself. This is being blown out of proportion. Nobody agreed with him. Vance told him to leave. Holt stopped talking. He walked out. After he left, Kendra picked up her gun. She finished her qualification test. She scored 98%. The range staff gave her a full refund. They also gave her a free lifetime membership. Agent Morrison offered to drive her back to D.C. She said, "No, I drove myself here. I'll drive myself home." But the consequences for Holt were just getting started. Janet Holloway had already posted her video online, and she still had friends at every major news network. If you believe in justice, hit subscribe. More of this story is coming. The video went up at 11:30 that morning. Janet Holloway posted it on Twitter. By 12:15, it had 50,000 views. It was trending in Virginia. By 2:00 in the afternoon, big accounts were sharing it. Police watchdog groups, civil rights pages, news reporters. By 4:00, local TV stations in D.C. were running the story. By 8:00 that night, it was on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Everyone was talking about it. By midnight, the video had 4.7 million views, just on Twitter alone. TikTok had another 2.1 million views from people reposting clips. YouTube news channels added 1.8 million more. Reddit put it at the top of multiple pages. People had a lot to say. One comment said, "He didn't verify because he didn't want to. He already decided she didn't belong." Another said, "She controls the funding for his entire department. You can't make this up." Someone else wrote, "Imagine how he treats people who don't have her title." And this one got shared thousands of times. We all know what he assumed. The Washington Post put it on the front page. The New York Times ran a big story. Law enforcement news sites covered it too. The sheriff's office put out a short statement. "We are reviewing the incident." They did not defend Holt. The police union said nothing. Holt deleted all his social media. By Sunday night, he had hired a lawyer. 3 days later, the Department of Justice announced something big. They were opening an investigation into the entire Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. And Deputy Holt's problems were only getting worse. Comment below, should police departments lose funding when stuff like this happens? Things moved fast. Day 2, Holt was suspended without pay. Day 5, the internal investigation was done. That was much faster than normal. Day 7, Holt was fired. The reasons were conduct unbecoming an officer, failure to follow rules, and civil rights violations. They collected his badge and gun at the station. People who were there said Holt left in tears. The federal government got involved next. The DOJ Civil Rights Division opened a case. The FBI Public Corruption Unit joined in. They weren't just looking at Holt anymore, they were looking at the whole department. Remember those 11 complaints against Holt? They pulled up every single one. They also found 6 other deputies with the same pattern. Holt faced charges from both the state and the feds. The federal charge was serious: deprivation of rights under color of law. That means using your badge to take away someone's rights. The state charged him with false imprisonment. That means holding someone when you have no right to. Holt made a deal on the state charges: no contest. That's basically admitting it without saying the words. On the federal charge, he got 2 years of probation, and he can never work in federal law enforcement again. But wait, there's more. Kendra Williams filed a civil lawsuit. She sued for having her rights violated. The county's insurance paid out $1.2 million. Here's what Kendra did with that money. She gave all of it away. Every dollar went to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. That group honors officers who died in the line of duty. She said this money should go to officers who serve with integrity. The department paid too. $40 million in federal grants were frozen. The sheriff announced early retirement within a month. The DOJ put the department under federal watch for 5 years. Every single deputy had to go through bias training, and body cameras finally became required. As for Holt, his career was over. Virginia took away his law enforcement license. He's on a national list now. No state will hire him. His wife filed for divorce. Public records show his family moved away. But the story didn't end there. Director Williams had something to say. 1 month later, Kendra Williams stood at a podium. It was at ATF headquarters in Washington, D.C. She talked about her whole career. "I've faced doubt my entire life. People questioned if I belonged in every room I walked into." She paused. "But I had never been handcuffed just for being black." She described what it felt like. Even after 22 years carrying a badge, she felt scared. Then she talked about what really bothered her. "I have the title, I have the credentials, I have the authority, and it still happened to me." She looked into the cameras. Now imagine being a young black man at that range. No title, no FBI agent nearby, no cameras. That's who I thought about when those cuffs went on. She had a message for law enforcement. The badge is a responsibility, not a weapon. Checking someone's ID takes 90 seconds. Fixing bias takes a lifetime. She had a message for everyone else too. Document everything. Your phone is your witness. The truth protects you. She said what she wanted to see change: national standards for police accountability, automatic federal review when complaints pile up, an end to qualified immunity in clear cases. She thanked the witnesses, the range staff, the FBI agents who spoke up. She ended with this: "I didn't need Deputy Holt to respect my title. I needed him to respect my humanity. He couldn't do either." This case showed a bigger problem. Black Americans are 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white Americans. Only 1% of officers cause 25% of excessive force complaints. 98% of police killings lead to 0 charges. This case was different because the victim had power. She had witnesses, she had proof, she had resources. Most people don't have any of that. So let me ask you, do we wait until the ATF director gets handcuffed before we admit there's a problem? Do we protect officers with 11 complaints until they hurt someone who can fight back? Do we really believe this deputy would have acted the same way if Kendra Williams was white? Because if we don't fix the systems that protected Marcus Holt for 6 years, if we don't listen to the complaints that came before, then we're just waiting for the next deputy, the next victim, the next video. And the next person might not be the ATF director. They might just be someone's kid, someone's parent, someone who never makes the news. Comment below if you think 11 complaints should mean automatic review. Let's talk about it. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these cases. We're going to keep demanding better. We're going to keep pushing for accountability, for transparency, for basic respect. This isn't just about one deputy or one director. It's about all of us. It's about what we're willing to accept. See you in the next one.